Good morning, STEM learners. We are again on our General Chemistry 1. Our focus for our today's lesson is about molar mass of elements and compounds. So what do you expect to learn after our lesson? At the end of the learning episode, you are expected to define a mole. Next, number 2. Relate a mole to Avogadro's number. 3. Calculate the formula mass of compounds. And number 4. Perform calculations involving mass, mole, number of atoms, or molecule relationship. So we begin now with pretest. Be ready with your ballpen and your paper to write your answers. You need also your periodic table and calculator for computations. Choose the letter of the best answer. Number 1. Which of the following represent a mole? A. 5 grams of NaCl. B. 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd F atoms. C. 3.01 times 10 to the 23rd CH4 molecules. And D. 24 grams graphite C atom. Next, number 2. All of the following refer to 1 mole of carbon dioxide except. So carbon atomic mass is 12.0 and oxygen is 16.0. Letter A. 44 grams of carbon dioxide. B. 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd molecules. C. A mole of carbon and 2 mole of oxygen. D. A gram of carbon and 2 grams of oxygen. Number 3. Zinc is used as a corrosion-resistant coating on iron and steel. It is also an essential element in your diet. Calculate the number of moles that contain 3.50 times 10 to the 25th atoms of zinc. A. 58.1 moles of zinc. B. 50.0 moles of zinc. C. 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd moles of zinc. And letter D. 3.50 times 10 to the 23rd moles of zinc. Number 4. What is the molar mass of calcium hydroxide? A. 72.0 gram calcium hydroxide. B. 114.0 gram calcium hydroxide. C. 58.0 gram calcium hydroxide. And letter D. 74.0 gram calcium hydroxide. Number 5. Helium is an unreactive noble gas that is used to inflate balloons. A sample party balloon contains 3.33 times 10 to the 22nd atoms of helium. What is the mass in grams of helium? A. 0.055 grams of helium. B. 3.33 grams of helium. C. 0.22 grams of helium. D. 4.00 gram of helium. Okay, let's now check your answers. Are you ready? Number 1, B. Number 2, D. Number 3, A. Number 4, C. 5C. Did you get a perfect score? If not, you don't need to worry. Anyway, we will deeper discuss all those topics as we go along with our lesson today. Let us now find out how well you are in writing of chemical formulas and giving their corresponding names. Fill up the table by giving the correct chemical formulas of a compound resulted from the combination of the positive and negative ions. Remember to apply your rules in writing chemical formulas. Write the positive ion first, followed by negative ions. Let's begin now. Al and Br, you will have AlBr3. Correct chemical name, aluminum bromide. Al2CO3 and closed parenthesis 3, aluminum carbonate. AlPO4 is aluminum phosphate. Al2S3, aluminum sulfide. CaBr2 is calcium bromide. CaCO3 calcium carbonate. Ca3PO4 and close parenthesis 2 calcium phosphate. CaS calcium sulfide. NH4Br ammonium bromide. NH4 and close parenthesis 2 CO3 ammonium carbonate. NH4 and close parenthesis 3 PO4 is ammonium phosphate. NH4 and close parenthesis 2 S ammonium sulfide. LiBr lithium bromide. Li2CO3 lithium carbonate. Li3PO4 lithium phosphate. Li2S is lithium sulfide. ZnBr2 zinc bromide. ZnCO3 zinc carbonate. Zn3PO4 and close parenthesis 2 zinc phosphate. ZnS ZnS. Very good. Did you enjoy writing chemical formulas and giving their corresponding chemical names? When your mother asks you to buy rice, mango, or beans in the market, you don't buy them in peas. Why? Because these are very, very small that it's very difficult to count them one by one. Similarly, atoms are very small, so scientists or chemists have a way of counting atoms. Let's find out in our lesson today. So looking at the pictures below, you can see a dozen of eggs, a ream of paper, a pair of socks, and a pair of shoes. These items are easier to count if they are grouped and counted as unit. So what are the things that you can buy? But how could we count small particles like atoms or ions or molecules? In chemistry, the chemists have introduced a special unit to describe a particular number of atoms. The unit is called a mole or mole. The mole is a system international unit. It is defined as the amount of substance that contains as many entities like atoms, molecules, and ions. Mole comes from the Latin word which means heap or pile. Chemists use mole to correspond to a pile or heap of individual particle of any kind of chemical which has a number of atoms equal to that present in exactly 12 grams of carbon-12. So the number This amount of carbon-12 contains 6.022045 times 10 to the 23rd atom. This is known as Avogadro's number, named by the Italian physicist Amedeo Avogadro. Atoms have atomic mass while a molecule has a molecular mass. The atomic mass of any nuclide can be determined by comparing it with the atomic mass of carbon-12. The term used is relative atomic mass. The atomic mass of other atoms are relative to the mass of the carbon-12 atom. The mole is used in chemistry to represent 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd of anything or something, but it can be difficult to conceptualize such a large number. So we have here a table to show the relationship of mole mass and number of particles. So you have the amount of substances. So you can see that in a rib of bond paper, it is equivalent to the 500 sheets. For a dozen of eggs, that is equivalent to the 12 pieces. So you can see that a mole of ammonia, a mole of magnesium, and a mole of sodium chloride, they all have the same number of particles, which is 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. The average atomic mass refers to the weighted average of the atomic masses of naturally occurring isotopes of an element. The average atomic mass of an element is dependent on both the mass and the relative abundance of each element's item. As you can see, you have different samples of